She peed herself
Again.
again during the night.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he came in here and explained something to my wife about the medicine.
All three doctors were
Okay. The medicine that's supposedly supposed to make her heart rate drop lower and her blood pressure drop lower at night. I don't think y'all have checked this yet, but at night her heart rate is already abnormally low, and her blood pressure is already abnormally low.
What's the lowest that you have seen?
The lowest was 62/31 for her blood pressure.
Oh, okay. For the blood pressure, okay.
Her heart rate was like, I'm gonna say 60 beats.
Okay.
It kept setting off the alarms. They should have the
nurses had all that written down. But no, they gave her the salt hormone this morning to help her hold on to the salt bath they gave her basically. The pill that Dr. Fraser wants to try on her this evening, they figured out last night that it does have a tendency to drop the heart rate. So they're going to talk to him after he talks to us about if he wants to start her on a slightly lower dose, just to be on the safe side. And we're pro whatever the doctors think within their best interest, within her best interest. However, I will say she was beyond excited yesterday, as were we, when the extra hydration, sodium, whatever, and then apparently what the pill's gonna help her hold on to, it gave her strength that she hadn't had in a long time. And from my understanding, Dr. Fraser was saying, I think I'm on the right path here. I want to try this out and see what it does. And whatever it did was remarkable. So he's on the right path. So when they said, there's a possibility this pill may not be something we can do, I panicked a little. I don't want to do anything that hurts her. 100% no. Her heart rates already are alarmingly low. But if we could start on a smaller dose, or if there's an alternative that does the same thing without screwing with the heart rate, that's fine. But we don't want to take away the trajectory we're on.
Sure.
Because she was able to walk unassisted without a cane last night pretty quickly, and her energy maintained. She could feel when it was starting to wear off a little bit, her muscles started to feel weaker again, but still better than what she's had for the past 3 months. And I just don't want to, if it's a problem with the heart rate or whatever, we need to find an alternative solution, because
yeah, I understand that. And you're saying that after that fluid, she was better, huh?
Oh my gosh, amazingly better.
after that salt bath, amazing.
Okay.
She could she hasn't been able to use her right leg at all for the past 2 months. And for the month before that, it was touch and go. Like, it wasn't as bad as it's been. She's gotten progressively worse in the past 2 months. But for Halloween, we were driving around in a wagon because she couldn't walk. And she stood up to get a Nintendo game. I don't know around what time it was, but it was after this whole thing had finished. And she has trained herself to brace herself when she walks. So she stood up, preparing to need to, walk like this. But you could see as she goes, I'm walking, and she tried, she stood, she was able to put all her weight on this leg and it didn't wobble or anything. She was very steady and she was kind of bouncing around. She sat up here, which we haven't seen her doing forever. She's been in the bed for the last couple months. She sat here and played her Nintendo game. She put it down, she got the Legos out, her fingers were working. She hasn't had enough dexterity to do that in a while. That's why she just plays her Nintendo.
Got it. I love to hear that.
Yeah,
That's
so
The fact that she could hold a pin, she could play with Legos, that's something she hasn't been able to do. Her dominant side is her right side. And that's been the side that she can't, the motor skills haven't been there.
I remember.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to wake her up right now, but I'm working with Dr. Fraser. He's practically my boss. So when we come back together in the afternoon, we're going to try to talk to you about alternative medication.
Okay.
Or whether or not we are concerned about the heart rate problem.
Okay.
Because to my knowledge, yes, there's a theoretical risk that heart rate might drop, but we can always try it at the hospital and see how
And
it
monitor?
responds. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, we're not going. Let me make that very clear. We are not going home with a new medication unless it's been tried and tested here for at least a day.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm. I understand, yeah. It
Our
makes sense to me.
hospitals in Pearland are not like y'all's.
They're not pediatric hospitals,
Okay.
so if we had an emergency, we wouldn't be able to get back here for
Sure.
the test.
I'm not paying for a life flight,
Yeah.
okay?
No, I understand. It's
I don't
completely
want
reasonable.
something to happen and it's New Year's Eve and if something happens tonight and we have to call EMS, I do not want that risk.
I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if we could do it and have it monitored, that would be great, but,
Sure.
yeah.
If we're starting a new medication, it's going to be in hospital.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have no say on that.
Yeah.
No,
You're the
I get that you don't.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
making that
But
very well
I
known.
understand. I'll relay whatever you said to me.
It's too much. This is New Year's Eve. It is not a risk I'm willing to take with my child.
Mhm.
If it was me, I'd be like, yes, send me home because I want my wine or whiskey. But there's a difference between us as adults and versus children.
No,
Yeah.
I understand. All right.
Alright.
At least we have a plus one.
No, it was remarkable. She said, and she went, how much do I take? She said, sign me up.
She's like, can we just leave this in my arm and just do this every day?
She also, her color came back. I think internally she felt a lot better too. She did, like I said, around 8 o'clock, you could tell it was starting to expire. She wasn't able to hold it in.
Mhm.
And to my understanding, the doctor explained to me this morning that what y'all gave her this morning, that salt hormone is supposed to help her hold on to it. So hopefully this stays. And she hasn't had any PT, so her muscles are, she's lost muscle mass, she's still gonna have some weakness. But I think it helped improve whatever's going on inside because she was her old self.
I'm just going to point this out. The past 4 times we've been in hospital, this really needs to be in y'all's diagnostic criteria. Because for the past 4 times we've been in the hospital dealing with this, her potassium has been super low. She's always been super dehydrated.
Yeah.
And this is not, like I told the doctor the other day, this is not a kid who goes without drinking. She has about 4 to 5 glasses of water, just water a day. And then after all this started, once a day, she gets what's called a liquid IV. Have you ever seen those, like, additives? Because it makes her feel better, but it doesn't last. But you shouldn't have, in my experience with those, 1 a day is good, because anymore it's like a diuretic almost.
Mm-hmm.
But she's constantly drinking water.
Mhm.
Juice is a rare thing in our house for her to have because of
She'll overdo it because she's dehydrated, but we don't want her to fill up on all that sugar. So if she has a bottle of water.
We don't want like a pure water.
Yeah,
without
she
any
has a
alcohol.
bottle of water with her at all times, and she's constantly filling it up. Constantly filling
That's
it
a
up.
problem too.
So she can't. Well, she's craving it, but she can't hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then
yeah.
we have found salt shakers in her room. She puts salt in her cereal.
She's been. We told Dr. Fraser that. That's what made him.
She
do
puts
this.
salt in her water. She puts salt on ice cream. Okay? Salt is a craving of hers.
I understand.
Yeah.
Sure. That's why Dr. Fraser is thinking dysautonomia, and I think the medication should really help
Okay.
if the salt is the problem.
Okay.
We'll figure it out, the heart rate issue,
Okay.
Okay?
and let's see how she does after that.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Alright. Hi, Summer. I don't know if you can.
No, she's dead.
So, her name is Summer.
Summerlin.
Alright.
Yeah.
What happened? Oh, okay.